Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ITV. This is your host, Dr. Yavuz Selim Sılay, physician, entrepreneur, and venture architect. I'm really thrilled and excited that we are receiving amazing feedback from our viewers in Africa. As you know, Ntr TV with Turksat is now reaching to more than 900 million viewers across more than 40 countries in Africa. So as I promised you, I'm bringing phenomenal leaders, business leaders from all walks of life. Today, I have a wonderful gentleman, a true role model, Tony Moore. Tony Moore is with us today. I'm really thrilled and excited that we'll be having a wonderful conversation with him because he has phenomenal experience being in the Goldman Sachs, back managing Asia, and also was a really key role model in many areas in finance. And currently, he is the chairman and CEO of Evrensel Capital Partners, which is one of the most important merchant banks as well as fund management company. Tony, welcome to ITV.
Thank you very much, Yavuz. It's a great pleasure to be here with you.
We're honored to have you. I mean it. And, you know, you are a truly role model in terms of finance to many around the globe. You have an amazing network and doing phenomenal job. And we are really excited that you are able to provide your time with Ntr TV today. My first question is, Tony, we know you very well, but for our viewers, can you tell as much as you can in detail who Tony Moore is?
I'd love to give it a go, Yavuz. I'm British by birth. I was born in the UK in 1945, so at the end of World War II. That, by a simple calculation, makes me, 75 years old now, in my 76th year. I have lived in Istanbul, which I greatly enjoy, since June 2010. I'm married to a wonderful Turkish lady, and believe it or not, at my age, I have two young children, a daughter of 8 and a son of 6. I have, 50-odd years experience in international financial services. I've lived and worked in 6 countries, 9 cities, and probably done business, transacted business in another 30 more. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of how the world goes round, certainly from a business perspective. It was very kind of you, Yavuz, to mention my time at Goldman Sachs, a real highlight of my career. I opened the Goldman Sachs Hong Kong office, was the first head of investment banking in Japan, and then in the 80s and 90s looked after privatizations in the UK and a number of large companies there. I've also been on the board of Bankers Trust International, the chairman of corporate finance at BZW, the investment banking subsidiary of Barclays Bank, as it was, and have been fortunate enough to chair and sit on the board of many companies subsequently. In 1999, after a stint as CEO of an energy technology company in Los Angeles, I formed my own company, Moore Clayton & Co., which provided strategic and financial advisory services, as well as investment to startups in a broad range of verticals, including healthcare, Yavuz, which you'll be pleased to know. We reverse merged that into a German listed company in 2005 and subsequently sold it. 2 years ago, at the behest and encouragement of some of my friends, particularly from Goldman Sachs, they told me that I shouldn't sit on my too comfortable backside, if I can say that, in Istanbul, but with all my international business experience and indeed the global network that I've established, they said that I should do something worthwhile. And so I established Ntr Capital Partners, global merchant bank and fund management group. It was originally started in Istanbul, my home, and is now incorporated in Jersey. You have been a great supporter, Yavuz. You know how much respect and admiration I have for what you've been doing in the healthcare sector, and I'm very pleased to say that you've been a very valuable and valued partner of that team, part of that family since inception, and are doing even more now. So that's me in a nutshell. Still going strong at 75. Not much I haven't done in investment banking and asset management around the world, and looking to build a really successful company with Ntr Capital Partners. Magnificent team around me, and we appear, despite some of the troubles in the world at the moment, to be having a great deal of success, I'm pleased to say. A lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, great wish to do good out there. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about Africa, and there's certainly the opportunity to do good there. So how about that for an introduction? Will that work for you, Yavuz?
Outstanding, Tony. Thank you. So what drives you to finance? I want to understand that better. From your childhood, was there any role models for you? How did you actually break into finance? And because your story is important for our viewers, because in this show we are taking ideas and turn into business. That's the idea. So from your perspective, what were the motivations? What drive you to where you are now?
Yes, that's a really good question. And of course, I should write a book to address it. But I have always been very curious about the world, hence my moves. You know, from the age of 21, 22, I basically lived outside the country of my birth. So I've always been really curious about how other financial systems in particular operate, how they got to where they are, how they get improved, how they can benefit people at large. So that's always been important to me, being out on the road. And not least, Yavuz, in developing markets. You know, I mentioned Hong Kong and Southeast Asia, now Africa. So developing markets are a particular interest. I don't do as much as I used to in the United States or even in Europe, because they are relatively well developed markets now. Of course, innovation, creativity can change those markets, improve them, enable people like me and us to provide better services to our clients. But the real thrill is in the developing markets, where I hope that my experience in the world, my knowledge, my network, others will benefit from. You know, when you get to this stage of life, you're just as interested in seeing other people get ahead. And I love mentoring. You know, I don't have too much to prove anymore. Unfortunately, my beloved mother is no longer with us, so I can't even impress her anymore with any achievements that I may have. But I love to mentor. I love to make a difference. I love to use knowledge that I've acquired, experience, contacts, to help others achieve their goals in life. And that, for me, is in the financial services area. But of course, with our industry expertise, what I think I can offer spreads across various industries: healthcare, education, things that are going to be increasingly important in the future, and indeed in this post-pandemic world of ours. You know, education and healthcare are going to go through transformations in terms of how we do far more online than we've been used to doing. So it's all about international, it's all about development, it's all about helping others. That's what drives me to get up very early in the morning and go to bed very late at night, and be excited to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and answer emails.
That's an amazing spirit, and keep it up, Tony. This is really phenomenal. With this spirit, then you're able to actually share the goodness with people and then help them grow and really see their success. This is really what makes yourself and many people happy in life. So getting back to the current financial situation, in terms of trade, I know Evansville Capital Partners has great focus on Africa, as you mentioned, in the developing countries. But in general, first and foremost, being a really international person living in a global village, how do you see the trade relations between Turkey, Africa, and the rest of the world based on your view? How do you see Africa evolving?
A general comment first, Yavuz. I am terribly enthusiastic and optimistic about Turkey's place in the world. Even before COVID-19, with Brexit, we saw increasing interest from European companies, particularly in the UK, so British companies, looking even more seriously at Turkey as a European hub. The geographical location is superb. Even the Romans understood that, and certainly the Turkish government of today does. I'm also very impressed by the diplomatic initiatives that are still being undertaken despite the current coronavirus COVID-19 situation. I think the Turkish government and the mayor of Istanbul, forget the political background, have done a tremendous job in opening up Turkey to the world, in educating the world about the opportunities in Turkey. This is a tremendous country. What is it, 80 million people, well educated, young, enthusiastic about their country. I love, on Atatürk's, the day he passed away, I'm always terribly moved, get out the taxi myself or wherever I may be, to celebrate that. So the Turks are very proud of their country, and that and know and understand that it takes hard work to get ahead. That's vital, and we've got it in this country. I feel myself a little bit Turkish, having lived here for 10 years, but particularly with my Turkish family. I believe Turkey has a tremendous future, and trade is going to be very much part of that. You mentioned Africa. Well, there's already significant trade between Africa and Turkey, but Yavuz, there could be so much more. I'm vice chairman of an organization, ATES, Africa Trade, Transport and Energy Summit, as it's called. I always have to look to see what ATGES stands for. Forgive me, I can never remember it. I should, I know, but I always call it ATES. Their CEO came to Istanbul last year and met with numerous organizations. I recall the Turkish Steel Association, who are really keen to increase the trade that they're doing with Africa. But what I also understood, Yavuz, that although the enthusiasm, optimism, intent is there, the knowledge isn't, the follow-through isn't. Let me take another example. There was a big conference in Sochi, Russia, what was it, 6 months ago, Africa Trade, and it went extremely well. President Putin attended, lots of high-level people, but I'm afraid to say, and I'm aware of this, there was so little follow-through. So with trade organizations are key to development of future and sustainable trade. ATES, which I've just mentioned, ATIGS, you will be familiar with them. Bako Ambianda, the executive chairman of ATIGS, is on the ECP advisory board. He lives in the United States, travels Africa regularly, and he and his organization are doing way more to open up trading opportunities between various parts of the world and Africa. But it's rather like investment banking or anything that we do. You know very well with your incubator, your work as a venture architect in healthcare, it's follow through. There can be lots of talk, lots of presentations, but who is going to pick up the ball and run with it and make sure that there are some goals scored or conversions made, if you happen to follow rugby? So the structures are in place, and there will be a lot more. Let me give you one example, a good one, I think, and I believe this will happen. At TESS, I convinced them that they should hold one of their annual summits, which are very well attended, in Istanbul. And I spoke to Mayor İmamoğlu's office, and I think I'm getting their attention, and I will continue to do so. But could there be anything better than for one of the major African trade organizations to hold their annual global summit in Istanbul or Ankara, which is, I know where you are, or Bursa, Izmir? It doesn't really matter, but the attention it would get would be terrific. So again, huge opportunities, but more effort to score the goals, make the conversions, follow through on the high-level meetings and shaking of hands and signing of trade agreements. That's what
where this follow through
is trying to do.
And closing the deal.
Through.
Because really following through, if you cannot close the deal, there is not much value coming out. So as you mentioned, there is lots of interaction going on. There is good intention. But for some reason, finally, the final point of agreement and transactions, most of them are not happening as it should be. So this is one of the challenges. Do you think maybe the banking system in Africa is not ready yet, or is it more cultural? And also from here, I want to understand from you, Tony, in the next several years, which areas do you think Africa will grow, and which areas there will be no more need, for serving to Africa? Is it, agriculture, healthcare, energy? Which sectors do you feel will be more and more important as Africa is rebuilding and rising?
The African banking system, financial services industry is, and let's set South Africa aside because there's a longer history there. But on the rest of the continent, it's very well advanced. We opened an office, ECP, in Accra, Ghana recently, and at the government's suggestion and recommendation, we've partnered with Fidelity Bank, one of the large banks there. We're very impressed. But when I read, and LinkedIn is a good place to follow what's happening in the African banking system, when I see that the Africa Development Bank is going into incubators, into digital systems, into crypto and whatever, I know that they've learned, and they've learned fast. And you've got other banking institutions such as Dangote and Zenith Bank who are providing world-class services across Africa. Mobile payments, all of these innovations, which it took some time to get off the ground in the USA and more particularly Europe, are happening, relatively speaking, almost overnight. So I don't think anyone should be concerned about the ability of the African banking system, financial services system to handle trade and indeed other aspects of investment that are involved in finance as a whole. In terms of sectors, well, a lot of it's got to be still about commodities, but it's going to have to be handled carefully. Oil and gas and mining are still very important to Africa, and they will be, because there are a lot of precious metals that the world needs in the electronics industry, etc., or rare metals that are coming from Africa. But of course, we now all have to be more interested in, concerned about the environment. And we're paying particular attention to anything that we take on as a client or look to invest in those areas, and are strictly following the United Nations guidelines in terms of ESG and other types of investing. So, but apart from that, The areas that we're focusing on, and therefore the ones that I believe are going to be most important, have to do with renewable energy, have to do with the environment, with healthcare, with education. We just hired, as you will know, Yavuz, a director of aviation, Richard Powell, super experienced, but in regional airlines. I think there's going to be tremendous opportunity with perhaps a decline in long-haul aircraft, airline activity, flights, that we will see a tremendous growth in Africa in regional airlines. And I want to be ahead of that curve. What we're
TV, I want to
trying
also
to do
convey
is
our regards to Richard for coming and really becoming a critical person in Evrensel Capital Partners. Welcome, Richard, to ECP.
Important role. I mean, you're key to what we want to achieve in global healthcare. We'll be delighted for you to lead the charge, and we'll put all the resources behind you we can, because you are a first-class businessman, and that's very important. Let me just give you a couple of examples of how we as non-Africans can make what I would consider to be attractive investments, but also do a lot to help, if you will, in Africa, to do good, to create employment, to deal with the environment. There's a mobile water treatment system technology out of Texas in the United States, which we're taking into Africa under joint venture. It's mobile, it can be moved from site to site, and it can process 400,000 gallons of water per day. Wonderful for the mining industry. So not only can you deal with decontaminated water, but you can provide fresh drinking water locally, perhaps even bottle it. We're looking at that. Now, you know, that's somewhat simplistic, but if we put 10 of these trucks in, 20 of these trucks in, it can make a big difference. I noticed 6 months ago that the Prime Minister of Ghana was complaining about the waste tires everywhere, in the streets, on the roads in Africa, or in his country in particular. So we are well connected with a waste tire to energy technology company in the United Kingdom called Carlton Forest, and we now have the sponsorship of a couple of governments to take that into the countries in question. So we're going to deal with a big environmental problem that they have, but in so doing, we're going to provide energy, create employment on the ground, and by the way, the particular technology produces high value add carbon byproducts, which can be sold again as local revenue. So just two examples, but I'm always searching for ways of not just investing in Africa, but looking to invest and create employment or give some benefit to Africa and its local systems by using our financial and industry skills and connections.
As Buddha says, rather than giving a fish to that person, teaching him how to fish is the key. And I think that's the really story that Africa needs in terms of building itself. Such a young population with huge background and value, which really needs to grow and will be growing in the future. It will be the largest and continue to become the largest market. Dear Tony, I have to go to a commercial break and I'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dr. Yavuz Solay. I'm with Tony Moore, a phenomenal gentleman, chairman of Evrensel Capital Partners. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay tuned with ITV.
For me, it's a great pleasure to have over 50 people from all over the world participate at the launch of ARFA, especially the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry of Ghana, who came all the way from Ghana to witness the launch of ARFA.
It's promising because this is the first possibility to build up direct connection, direct links to African people or between African and non-African people.
Alpha is going to open up opportunities, that is for sure, and I welcome companies who are doing business in Africa.
I think that the Alpha platform has come at a very opportune time. I think that if we patronize this platform, it's going to open us up to Africa and indicate to the rest of the world that Africa is a place to do business as anywhere else in this world.
The most innovative system in the Alpha is the ability to navigate through any port in Africa, being able to get first-hand information about Africa, about African ports. And our long-term goal is actually to bring together every single port in the system. And also another aspect of the innovative system is basically the Alpha Connect. What the Alpha Connect does for you is basically the primary focus of business, where everyone comes together, engage, be able to find partners, be able to view trade lists, be able to find tenders, be able to connect with anyone existing within the portal. I think it's really very powerful that companies can find doing business easy in Africa right now.
Welcome back to ITV. This is your host, Dr. Selim Sulay, physician, entrepreneur, and venture architect. We gave a small commercial break. I am with Tony Moore, who is actually a phenomenal leader, building amazing bridges between Africa, Turkey, and the rest of the world. And we were discussing in general where it will move forward. And in terms of Africa, it is very important to say that it's not just about giving a fish to Africa. We need to teach our African brothers and sisters how to do their own fishing. So with that idea, I want to turn back to dear Tony and then really focus on what Evrensel Capital Partners can offer in Africa and how people can actually reach to Evrensel Capital Partners for building their opportunities, because it's one of the fastest growing merchant bank as well as a very important fund management company. Tony, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Yavuz. I'm really enjoying being with you. I did want to pick up on your comment about the fish and fishing, which is very important, but I would go a step further, which perhaps gives an even better framework for what we were talking about. That is to say, not only teach them to fish, but maybe to establish a fish farm. And while we're doing that, we talk to them about sustainability, how they don't take all the fish out of the water and leave nothing left for anyone else, but how they make sure there's always fish there to be caught and eaten, right? So I think that's a very important addition to what you were saying. Fish to fishing, but then create fish farms, do everything in an environmental way, in a sustainable and scalable way, which is so important in a number of the industries in which we get involved, and very much you with healthcare. Let me expand a little bit then in terms of ECP, Evrensel Capital Partners, and how we're going about it. Financial expertise and knowledge is great, but equally important, and to my mind as an old investment banking hand, industry knowledge is even more so. I would rather have someone who has 20 years experience, 30 years experience in the healthcare industry tell me to invest in company XYZ because he sees a tremendous future which others may not recognize right now, than a financial analyst spend the weekend Googling to come up with some comments on why the healthcare, the new product offering, might be a blockbuster of the future. Okay, well done, full marks for effort, but where's the knowledge, the experience, the vision for that industry? So what I don't have in Evrensel Capital Partners is a bunch of old investment banking friends sitting around me. I have industry knowledgeable, well, firstly by geography, then by industry, by technology, by product and service, by brand. Those are the people that we have on our advisory board, like your good self, and who we have on the executive team. 80% of them are all about geography, industry, technology, product, service, and brand. Really important. That means when you go into a country or invest, you can bring those skill sets. You know, we have project managers, we have logistics experts, etc., etc. So when we go into a country like Africa, we not only bring the money, but we bring the expertise to make the most, or to do the best to optimize that investment. You know, of course there are African investment funds, and some very good ones, but frequently they are 3 or 4 people who came out of a private equity group like BlackRock, God bless them, first-class people, and raise 500 million, and then go about investing using their whatever system, evaluation system it may be, and they come up with a decision to invest or not, and that's about it. They may attend, and I'm exaggerating to make a point, they may attend board meetings or ask for financial data on a monthly basis, but what are they actually doing in terms of making that investment successful? Seeing that that team has all the tools and advice and hand-holding, arm around the shoulder to get through the tough times as well as the good. And that's what Evrensel Capital Partners is all about. Long-term relationships, bringing anything and everything in terms of knowledge and expertise, experience to the table to help the client achieve their goals, which we consider to be mutual goals. You have to be global, Yavuz. It's no good just focusing on one country. You have to be global. Money, people, tech flow across borders, and you've got to be able to go with them. You know, we may find an Africa client who is ideal for a listing on the London Stock Exchange. We may find an Africa client where there could be a very good industrial partner for them in Australia. That's what it's about. Doing anything and everything, and that's what we look to achieve under the Evrensel Capital Partners umbrella, not simply to give advice like a consultant, not simply to invest money like a VC, but actually it's almost like a one-stop shop, or a soup to nuts, or an idea to exit approach. Always there with the client, with them through good times and bad, and looking to do everything and anything we can to ensure their success which can only but be for the good of the people in the company, the shareholders, and the community at large.
Tony, can we say think globally, act locally, but in terms of acting locally, you're also mentioning act with the current expertise based on the industry. So the difference Evrensel Capital Partners is bringing is not just the global vision, the network, but the expertise in each area, both the country expertise as well as the industry expertise, so you can have a sustainable growth in the funds and also in the investments.
Exactly right, Yavuz. I remember in the early days when I was at Goldman Sachs in my early days, by the way, there were only 1,800 employees when I joined Goldman Sachs. I think there's 40,000 or so now. And I worked alongside people like Hank Paulson, who became the Secretary to the Treasury, and other great people. So they were terrific days. But that in the 80s, it was the first time that they really had gone overseas. Goldman Sachs was viewed as an American investment bank. Okay, they had an office in London, but the 90% of the partners in New York really, okay, we'll go over and do a little bit of shopping in London, but, as long as they don't interfere with how we make money in the United States, fine. But I remember so well John Weinberg and John Whitehead, who were the senior partners at the time, actually got the message across that Goldman Sachs is going to be a global financial institution, a global investment bank with a local presence in New York. And boy, that's what it is now, right? I don't know what percentage of the revenues, the business, the activities are outside the United States, but I'm sure it's significant. A very good friend of mine, he worked for me when he first joined Goldman Sachs in 88, 89, Richard Nodder, young man in off the street, so to speak, thrown into working with me as the client representative to do an M&A deal. He's now, God bless him, the CEO of all of Goldman Sachs outside United States. And I had breakfast with him in London not so long ago, and I got a really good idea of what international is all about. So in my own little way, I've learned a lot from my days at Goldman Sachs, which is a very relationship-oriented firm. Client comes first. We'll tell the client not to do something if we don't think it makes sense for them, even if we lose a fee. A lot of that's instilled in me and can be seen in Evrensel Capital Partners, and it's something that I'm trying to show by leadership and transmission, if you will, of the GNA to the people working with me. DNA, isn't it? Not GNA. Shows how old I'm getting.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. So in terms of if anyone in Africa wants to work with Evrensel Capital Partners or anyone around the world, how can they approach you? What should they do? Should they come with projects? Should they come with money? Should they come with investment opportunities? What are the things they need to do to reach you, dear Tony?
We're always interested in hearing about what you just said. People with interesting projects, people that want to invest in projects. We think we have the highest quality deal flow, fully due diligenced by our industry experts, etc. So we're always interested to hear from people that want to invest in our projects. I'm always available, Yavuz. I'm happy when people are approaching me and saying, what do you think of this? Or can you help me with whatever? And what I do is look at it, come up with an initial assessment, and then ask my colleagues who know far more than me about it. Yavuz, as you'll know, the trick in life is to put people that are smarter than you around you. They end up making you look smart at the end of the day as well. But meanwhile, I will, and it happens almost every day, Yavuz, that we're approached about something, and I'll say, I need to speak to my colleague Jack Powers in Singapore, or Cyprian Poper in Romania, or Mike Lowe in Los Angeles, whatever it may be, to get their input. What do you think of this, guys? Is this something we should take seriously? this guy wants to invest, and when I say guy, please, I mean lady and gentleman. Can we help them with that? So, absolutely, I'm open to hear from anyone and everyone by LinkedIn, or email me directly at anthonym@evrenzelcapitalpartners.com. Yavuz, you're very closely involved with us, so please, anything to do with healthcare or startups, please do let Yavuz know. Yavuz, you'll be pleased to know as well that a lovely young South African professional, Didi Lekentle, has just joined us, and she is Director African Startups within Evrenzel Capital Partners, and she will be working with me on the startup scenario. Now, don't forget, and please, this is not an advertisement because we still need to get full regulatory approval, but we will be launching in the very near future, and I do mean the very near future, the $500 million Africa Development Fund, of which ECP is a major partner, significant partner, and that will be our way of using funds gathered from others. I think there's going to be significant interest from investors in the Gulf, in the UAE and GCC in that fund. That will be another way of us seeding the companies that we want to see grow in Africa, and also bringing all the resources of Evrenzel Capital Partners and our extended network to bear on the investments that the fund makes. I think that's going to be really exciting, and you will certainly be involved in that, my friend.
Amazing news. I welcome her as well. So we have 5 last minutes. We are going to be with Turkish Radio Television, mutual broadcasting. In the next 5 minutes, I want to get your opinion about Natural TV and our show ITV, which I'm hosting you, and also your comments, your vision, your recommendations for our viewers.
You know, Yavuz, I think you are really, really smart. Before the pandemic, COVID-19 broke, you were already thinking about efficient and effective ways to communicate with the world. COVID-19 is really unfortunate, of course, but it's a boost, and a very appropriate boost to what you were looking to achieve. And it's going to be more and more the way of doing things. You will have seen, I see every day, the number of webinars that are being established now by various organizations that can no longer hold their meetings in Dubai or Bahrain or Boca Raton or whatever else. So you're absolutely in the right space. What I like about what you're doing is you have a particular style, and that's going to appeal to a lot of people out there. You know, what we're not trying to do, what I don't see you trying to do, is to bring your office onto the net. You know, so the webinars that I see, it's really a group of people that used to sit in an office room that actually go up on the, excuse me, I've lost my earphones here, that look to transfer the office to the internet. Well, you know, that's not terribly exciting. So your interactive approach, I think, is first class. And you're doing it from a country which is getting increasing interest from around the world. We see President Erdogan and members of the government out there shaking the trees, beating the bushes, getting the Turkish word out there, if you will, the message, come do business in Turkey, we'll come to you. You know, it's worth saying that my home country, United Kingdom, was terribly impressed, as are a number of other countries, with the efforts that have been made by Turkey to ship, to donate PPE equipment to the rest of the world. That gets people noticed. That gets a country noticed. So what you're doing, your style, the interactive nature of it, you as the host and personality, shows are successful as much as anything around the person that is the spokesman or upfront person for that. And I think they're very lucky to have you doing this and spending time on it. I think it's right time, right place. I would suggest you keep at it. Get more, not suggesting that I'm particularly interesting, but get people that have got experience in life, not someone who left business school 5 years ago, however they're smart they may be. I think more and more people want to hear from those that have lived their lives, had most of their careers, who are keen to give back, keen to help others. Let them give their experience of how to get more trade into Turkey, how to help more in Africa. And I think that that will see you even more successful in the future, dear others.
Thank you, Tony. We are looking forward to host you in our studio as well in the future. I think This was a phenomenal discussion, having someone with amazing experience, leadership, goodwill. I am really blessed and thrilled that we are able to bring you to our viewers. And this is the first, and I look forward to having more programs with you in maybe different areas in finance in the future. Thank you very much, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to finalize this episode. I had one of the most important finance gurus in the world, Tony Moore, the CEO and chairman of Evrensel Capital Partners at ITV. And he talked about many interesting things that probably every time you're watching, you will be learning from. So ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned with Idea to Business. And this is your host, Dr. Yavuz Selim Sılay. See you next time. Now we're moving into our Turkish radio television mutual broadcasting from Ankara. Take care and all the best. Bye. Hello, this is Dr. Yavuz Selim Sılay, physician, entrepreneur, and venture architect. I am the chairman of ICG, stands for Istanbul Consulting Group, and the managing director of Ntr TV, which is broadcasting to more than 900 million viewers across more than 40 countries in Africa. I have an amazing news for you. Are you ready to unlock your potential? And do you want to expand your export and viewers? Do you want to become a global brand as a TV or a radio company or another broadcasting company? If you are seeking growth, then contact our management consulting services, chain management, project management, and strategic market access services. As a local business in Africa, if you have a local cable TV or radio, contact us now. Istanbul Consulting Group with Turksat is exclusively focusing on Africa to unlock the broadcasting potential of your TV. So if you are a local or national TV in Africa, let's enhance your viewer numbers by 10 times. Let's make you international. Let's give you a much higher picture quality and enhance your content with Ntr TV and Turksat's amazing team. I'm ready to unlock your potential. That's why contact right now ICG through these numbers. And we are ready as Istanbul Consulting Group with Turksat and Ntr TV to provide you the best voice, data, internet, TV, and radio broadcasting services, and ready to make you global. This is Dr. Yavuz Selim Sılay, physician, entrepreneur, and venture architect. I'm really thrilled and excited to offer you this opportunity. So do not miss this one. Take care and all the best. Bye.